is self-esteem and positive thinking. So we're going to be looking at what is positive thinking, what is self-esteem, and how we can improve them. Okay. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is positive thinking. And positive thinking can be improved using the acronym GREAT DREAM. Okay, so the first one is giving, and that can be just doing things for other people. Okay, it can be as simple as sort of Dave, maybe it might be helping one of your children with their homework, for example. It could be helping someone with their CVs. Yes, it can it's just doing things for other people. Okay, time, ideas, energy. Okay, so by doing things for other people, it increases your self-esteem. Okay, it doesn't have to just be about money. Okay, what's the next letter? R. Someone can spell. Excellent. I'm going to be testing first, so you better know how to spell. R is relating, connecting with other people, improving your networks. Okay, so you've got your family networks, and then you've got your work network. You might have friends outside of work, just socialising with them, spending as much time with other people as possible. Okay, it's been quite well proved that people tend to live longer if there's more people around them. What's the next letter? E. E. Is there anything a D you can spell? Is everyone else struggling? Okay, E. Exercising. Okay, being active makes us happier. Okay, I'll go into a bit more details, but when we become active, our blood pressure increases, our heart rate increases, and through that, endorphins get released from the brain, and that makes us happier. Okay, so being active, it just be simple. Okay, you don't have to be sort of Mo Farah, you know what I mean? You don't have to do London marathons. It can just be as simple as walking around the block. That's A. There is literally one person who can do it. Okay, appreciating. Just stop and take notice. You know, we live in Birmingham, sure, it's synonymous with industry, but just be mindful of the world around you. Some parks are, you know, short hop away from here. We've got Licky Hills, we've got Cannon Hill Park, we've got so many different parks. Just take a look around, just appreciate what's around you. The next letter, I won't ask you anymore, you're obviously going to struggle. T is trying out. Okay, so just trying out new things. Trying out new things increases curiosity, increasing curiosity. Okay, how many of us sort of go into a Chinese restaurant, Indian restaurant, and just book exactly the same thing every single time we go in there? Because we know what it tastes like. We know they can do the chicken, the pork, or whatever really well, and we're not going to try anything else. So we've done great. The next one, dream. Direction. Just by setting achievable goals. Ambitious, realistic goals gives direction and accomplishments. So, for example, instead of your goal being something like, I'm going to lose weight, okay? It might be, I've got a wedding in January, I'm not going to get in my suit unless I lose 2 inches, okay? So you've got your goal is the wedding, okay, that's what we're aiming for. Yeah. We've got the target, the 2 inches, and we've also got the time as well. Okay, we've got to do it by January. There's no point doing it by February, because the wedding's in January. If we don't do it by January, we've got nothing to wear, basically. Okay, so we've got something to aim for. If we're just going to say, I'm going to lose some weight, it just doesn't happen. Okay, so the next one, resilience for R. Being able to sort of bounce back. Our response to stress, trauma and failure can have a big impact on our lives. If you can learn how not to bounce back, by implication you can learn how to bounce back. Is everyone clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Emotion. So you've got to focus on the positive aspects of any situation. So it's the whole glass half full, not half empty note. Okay? Things happen for a reason, so you've just got to accept it. So regular positive emotions lead to an upward spiral. A, acceptance. Okay, just no one's perfect.
Yep.
Okay, dwelling on our flaws can make it harder to be happy. Okay, so, you know, my hair's probably not as long as I want to be. But you know, it's genetics, it's not really a great deal I can do about it. Okay, we've all got our flaws, whatever it is. Okay, we're all human beings, we're not robots. Okay, we're just accepting who we are can make us a whole lot happier. So the last one would be acronym N. Meaning. So people who have meaning and purpose and know are happier. So that can be being a parent, having a worthwhile job, maybe you've got a strong religious faith, again, whatever it is, okay, just have that meaning in life, okay, reason to sort of get up in the morning. Okay, so physical activity, okay, yeah, we sort of touched on it previously before. Feel-good hormones are released when we're happy. Okay, I won't go into the science thing, but essentially. Yeah, so that can be achieved by a simple 10-minute walk around the block. Okay, and make it enjoyable as well. You know, if you don't like running, put the CD player on in the kitchen while you're cooking, have a little dance. You know, I say whatever it is, I say make it enjoyable. So it's running, you know, jumping around, having a little dance, whatever it is, up to you. Right, physical activity. And physical activity doesn't have to be just running, jumping. It can be in the form of cycling, maybe. It could be gardening. Gardening, again, so getting down, picking up those weeds. So again, it can be that. And also, it could be lone sports as well. So it doesn't have to be with other people. It can be by yourself. So that can be running, swimming. Okay. And also, keep an achievement diary of any achievements. See if you've got a personal best, mark it down. So then when you are feeling down, you go back to it and say, well actually, the other week I managed to do this, there's no reason why I can't do it again.
Do a diary as well. Do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make notes.
Make notes, exactly. Keep all the positive things that you've done. Okay, so I say when you are feeling in a low place, you can then refer to it.
Move on.
You can move on, exactly. So if you went to a job interview or went kaput,
or whatever,
or whatever, and you think, oh gosh, should have said that. You can go back to the achievement diary and say, you know what, I can do this. The fact you've got an interview in the first place is so achievement diary. Yeah, so going back to the interview, if it was just a complete mess, I really let myself down. Just think about the fact that you've achieved it by getting the interview in the first place. Okay, there's a lot of people who apply for that job
and can't get interviewed.
who didn't get the interview. They're not going to interview everybody who applied.
No.
Okay, because that would just take too long. You know, there's 100 people who applied, they might only interview, say, 10 people. Okay, so you're in the top.
Your experience.
So you're in the top 10%.
Yeah.
Okay, you might not have got the job, but you got further than a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay, so just think about the positives rather than thinking about the negatives. Okay, so yes. So sleep, again, I think you sort of mentioned this as well. Negative feelings are exaggerated when feeling irritable and low confidence. Okay, so it can really sort of get at you if you haven't had much sleep the night before. Okay. Diet, so sort of a well-balanced diet, so all the usual fruit, veg, and sort of regular meal times. So try and eat breakfast, lunch and tea, rather than sort of picking out at various times. So try not to eat just before you go to bed and stuff like that. So obviously water and vegetables. And sort of reducing alcohol, tobacco and drug intake would all be very useful. So also relaxation. So it could be something like going away for the weekend, or just doing an evening, or just a night out on the tiles, night out at the theatre, comedy club, in the pub, whatever it is. Something that you wouldn't do normally, okay, so it's a bit of a treat. Or it could just be 5 minutes looking out the window. Again, you don't have to sort of spend money on these things. So long as it's something that's different from the norm. That's what's important. It's just a break from what you usually do. Okay. So that's your positive thinking out of the way. We'll now move on to self-esteem. Basically, what self-esteem is, it's the way we see and think of ourselves. Okay? So it's your self-consciousness, that's yourself, and your self-respect.
Yeah.
So it's, I think I'm brilliant, and everyone else thinks I'm brilliant.
Yeah.
So therefore, it leads to self-esteem. Okay? So it's not just what you think, which is the important thing. It's not what you just not just what you think about yourself. It's what other people think about you as well. And it's a combination of those things. So positive self-esteem is all about trusting your own judgment. Okay? And no feelings of guilt when someone disagrees. So if I was to say, I don't know, Stan Graham was the greatest Aston Villa player in the world. Okay? You're obviously going to disagree, but I won't mind you disagreeing.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you disagree and I become upset about it,
Yeah,
that will
yeah,
lead
of
to.
course.
Yeah. So it's all about sort of trusting your own judgment.
Yeah.
Okay. And it doesn't matter. So no worry about what's happened in the past and what's happening in the future. Okay. What will be, basically.
You move on.
You move on. Exactly. It doesn't matter. There'll be another job in the future. It doesn't matter. We'll move on. Okay. Didn't even want to work for Sainsbury's in the first place.
No.
You know. Okay. So it's the being aware of the value you have to others. Okay. No man is an island. Okay. And be willing to ask for help from others when needed. Okay. We've got to be quite sort of self-aware. Okay. Again. You know, we're not perfect, we're not robots. There will be times when we need help, and it's important to know that time. And most people won't mind if you ask them for help. So it could be sort of a work-related thing. There's no point sort of being pig-headed about something if you don't know. Okay, so having the confidence to do that is a sign of having good, positive self-esteem. Okay, let's talk about negative self-esteem. I think Greg's sort of touched on some of these aspects.
Yeah.
So it can be quite self-criticism.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just constantly, questioning yourself.
Self-loathing.
Self-loathing, exactly. So the fear of getting something wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fear of failure.
Fear of failure. I don't know if you had this, but when you were at school, the teacher said, anyone got any questions?
Yeah.
Were you the sort of people to put your hands up, or did you kind of keep it to yourselves? Because there are some people who think, I would ask that question, but if it's a stupid question and everyone laughs, I'm going to make myself
You know, the strange thing is with that, I put my hand up, I know the answer. Not forgot it, but know the answer. Get it correct, and there's a huge silence. There's a huge silence in the class, and it's like, ooh.
Somebody wants to ask a question.
You tend to find.
Do you know what the thinking, don't ask no questions, you just want to get to the end of the lesson.
Oh, I think it's just what I tend to find, especially in school, you tend to find that most people are probably wanting to ask that question as well. Okay. Yes, the fear of getting something wrong.
Because they're all surprised.
If you're doing a pop quiz and you think, well, yeah, I do know the fourth wife of Henry VIII, but if I say it wrong and we get it wrong, we lose.
Well, look at Simon Cowell, he looked at Susan Boyle. His face just basically dropped. He said, I didn't expect that from you. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, so with Susan Boyle, I guess, as an example, she had the confidence to sing the song from Les Mis. Wasn't very good. But anyway, yeah, but again, she had the confidence to sort of do it.
Yeah.
Okay, they could have all laughed in her face, but she had the confidence to do it.
He's shocked.
Yeah. yes, people with negative self-esteem, they tend to have a negative outlook on life.
Pessimistic.
Pessimism, exactly. Again, sensitivity to criticism, and every temporary setback is the end of the world. Okay. Yeah, so we talked about positive self-esteem, negative self-esteem. So healthy self-esteem, being aware of your personal flaws and faults, but still being able to love yourself unconditionally despite those flaws and faults. Okay, so that's your happy medium. Okay, that's what we should be sort of aiming towards. Does anyone know what it's called for someone with a really unhealthy positive self-esteem? It's called. Begins with M. Anybody?
Narcissism.
Narcissism.
That's the
Quite tobacco.
So is that what it's all mixed up?
It's when you've got extremely high positive self-esteem.
Yeah.
But although some people say it's negative because
Yeah.
with narcissism, you don't acknowledge what other people think of you. It's all about yourself. So some people would say that's a positive self-esteem, being sort of very, I'm brilliant, I'm the best, and I can do this. Okay, but it's just not being aware.
He talked about somebody that's very intelligent.
Yeah.
Feels very intelligent, and that feels like they don't want to talk about it to show what they can do. I'm frightened of how people are going to react to it, if you like.
It's a characteristic associated with sort of stockbrokers, so I'm the best and I can do this and solve the consequences basically. And it's important to have self-esteem because without self-esteem you don't achieve what the psychologist Maslow referred to as the hierarchy of needs. A hierarchy of needs, if you're not seeing it, it's basically a pyramid with your needs. So your very basic needs, and it's all goes. So your basic needs to survival. So your basic needs are sort of food, water, shelter is at the bottom. So you can't achieve the next stage until you've achieved the one below. Okay, and I say in order to get to self-actualization, the main goal, the end of the computer game, as you have to go through self-esteem level.
Got it.
So you have to achieve self-esteem in order to get to the self-actualization. So that's why it's important. Okay. So what can be done to improve self-esteem? Towards a great dream. Don't compare yourself to other people. Okay.
Practice.
I say don't strive to perfection, and I don't mean just don't bother. But try not to. Say if you're, if you're a footballer, there's no point sort of trying constantly comparing yourself to Lionel Messi. Okay, because ultimately, I'm sorry to break this to you, but it's just not going to happen. Sorry, I should have said that more sensitively. That's life.
Is it like don't run before you can walk?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. So you can improve your football. There's nothing stopping you there, and that would lead to self-esteem. But it's just it's the comparing yourself to the people. I suppose that's the danger.
It's about being unique and being
I find that hard though,
being yourself.
because I don't know if it's because I've always played sports, but you do compare yourself to
Of course you do, yeah.
and you want to be better than that other person.
No, that's fine.
But that's so
To get yourself further.
Yes, to me, I can't. Even if
You
it
can
was
compare yourself to
Messi, I'm not saying I'll be better than Messi, but if I wouldn't be in that sort of industry if I didn't want to be better than that person and I'd compare myself to that person. But you'd ask any sportsman or whatever, they think they're better, maybe not more skillful, but in other ways.
But you want to be the best you can be.
Definitely.
So the best you can be. There's nothing.
You have to have a chart.
Regardless of who the person
You have
is.
to have a measurement. You have to have a chart. You have to...
Don't get me wrong. You've always got to be the best you can be. But it's you've always got to be the best you can be. Okay, there's nothing wrong with aiming for that, but there is a sort of danger when you're constantly comparing yourself to other people.
Yes.
That's the risk. Of course, you can emulate your favourite.
I think you just
Your
generally
favourite-
do compare.
your
You just
favourite-
generally do, don't you?
Of course you do, but there is a kind of a
Yeah.
line, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know.
A lot of people do that, a lot of people try to do that and then they come unstuck.
They come on stock exactly, and then that leads to
Just
just,
at the top.
and then that leads to them just kind of constantly feeling like a failure because they haven't, because they haven't got the #1 album and they haven't got the
That's
golden,
right.
the World Cup golden boot. You know,
Whatever,
do you know
yeah.
what I mean? So there is a risk of that. Okay, so
That's why it's important to be yourself.
totally. So acknowledging positive qualities, spending time with supportive people.